Mr. Trump. Man's world. Man's world. Yeah. Turn that face yeah, I'm living in man's world.
Yo, 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 yo. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. We finally here, guys. We finally back with another one. I gave y'all time to come in here like I always do. Give y'all about 2 to 5 minutes to roll in here. Now this right here is the true definition of white on white crime, family. I ain't trying to be racist or anything. But in my mind, I'm wondering where these colonizers, or what they call these pilgrims, aka the top hats, because if you look at the pilgrims, yeah, they got them top hats on, family. And I believe some of them come from the Jewish I can't even fucking pronounce it. Ethnicity. Y'all probably can pronounce it better than I can. 'Cause sometimes I butcher words, but y'all get what I'm saying. Some of these people come from all across the world. But where did they get this ideology of eating themselves or other people? At that, see, the thing is, I've heard of people being so hungry they end up eating themselves too. But this is something different, and this is the story of Jane. This is Jane, the story of cannibalism in Jamestown and Bermuda rescues. Allegedly, it was wintertime, and some of these colonizers did not know how to grow their crops, fam. They were not the true farmers of the land. So they had to learn their skills from the natives, the native colony. And when the colonizer came over here. You gotta call them what they are, man. I'm not about to sugarcoat anything. And I hope y'all are not sensitive to what we are saying tonight. Because I know a lot of y'all are crybabies, but this is some of y'all history right here. It's some of y'all history right here. So I don't know if you are familiar with this story, but it's been featured on the news. Evidence of Jamestown. The early settlers may have eaten people. Now, did they eat the Indians? I don't know. But they did eat themselves, and they ate this. They said they ate this girl's head. They got the evidence of it. And if you look at, we gonna pull some video footage up too. Because if you look at certain artifacts, like right here, this look like a damn fork, a fork mark right there, right on side of her skull. So see these settlers right here, they pilgrims, man. They said this is her. I think they let her body rot out first, and then they start eating her. I don't know if she died. They try to say she died, and then they start eating her. They didn't let nothing go to waste, y'all. It's some crazy ass shit right here, fam. See, I don't know if the natives. We gonna look up that too. Let's look up this because I want to know something. Uh, Better pull this up because I asked Grunk, did the native tribes practice cannibalism? I want to know. See what this motherfucking Gronk says. Cause I pulled up a few articles of the settlers eating each other, but I don't know if anybody wants to claim this culture or not. I don't know who wants to claim these people at Jamestown. Whose people are these? Ancestral Pablos. Hmm. The question is whether the natives, man. The thing is with the natives, basically, is saying it was tied to some ritualistic shit, tied to warfare or revenge. Because the natives, they're not gonna go hungry on their land like the colonizers. See, they soil is totally different over there than the Americas, so they had to lean on somebody else's own understanding. They didn't lean on their own understanding because they died. A lot of them died, especially in those uh, northern colonies. It gets real cold up there. Uh, let's see. It says anthropological and historical evidence indicates that cannibalism among some indigenous societies, but it was typically ritualistic. And we already read that. Of course, they're not going to go hungry. Ancestral Pablo in the American Southwest at sites like the Cowboy Wash in Utah, 1200 CE skeletal remains show this tart. This man, these motherfucking words is eat me up tonight. So excuse me if I don't know how to pronounce something. please excuse me. And after I go on my rant about this, we go into some video footage because I heard about this a long time ago. I wanted to go over it and cover some things, but the most direct proof comes from a human fossilized feces. Yeah, man, them fossils, man, them fossils been debunked. Most of that shit been debunked. Um, Analyzed 1997. They even say the dinosaurs are a myth. I don't know how true that is. They trying to say the dinosaurs some because the thing is you're not even allowed to dig in your own backyard. You gotta have permission from the city to dig in your own backyard type shit. So that gives you a scope of what you can and cannot do when it comes to trying to find stuff. They don't want you to find no gold or anything like that. They don't want you to find the shit. So they think you digging up some the men in black go show up. This is in the Caribbean. Columbus in 1492 reports claims they ate artwork enemies. I guess that's a tribe, possibly with some bias and ritual warfare. So they ain't eating because they ain't hungry. They eating because it's sick though. Don't get me wrong. It's sick, but they ain't eating. I don't think they eating their own peoples though. That's the only difference I'm seeing. They're not eating their own people. They eating their enemy and shit. They ain't eating their own people. So these Indians, man, they sick too. Okay, they sick as fuck too. I guess the native Indians and the white colonizers, they share the same type of traditions. Don't you find that strange? And if we look up the voodoo culture, they do the same shit. They do the same shit. What is this? Reddit. In the Western world, accusing other people of cannibalism, actually or not, was an see. If you dig a little deeper, some of this shit ain't true. Some of it is. When they say in the Western world, accusing other people of cannibalism, accurately or not, is often used as dehumanizing insults. How did North American indigenous cultures who didn't practice cannibalism talk about their neighbors who did? In the early colonial period of the 19th century, or whenever the question ceased to be relevant and earlier were attitudes as negative, ex, exonotizing as those of the colonizers, or were those ones that were more like those people over there do this and we do not. A Gonklin. So you had people that did and didn't do one down with that shit. During the Iroquois Wars, the Hurons, Wendat, and the Algonquins accused the Iroquois slash Hundanees as a tribe of being habitual cannibals, especially the Indigenous and Mohawks. While cannibalism probably was practiced by the Iroquois at some point in history, both archaeological and anthropological evidence points to this. The evidence is practiced during the Beaver Wars. Damn. And the time period preceding it after the establishment of the Iroquois Confederacy, but kind of sketchy and unclear. what is certain that the Algonquin tales of Iroquois cannibalism were extremely exaggerated. Hmm. Yeah. Many claims stem from biased European sources lacking first-hand verification used to portray natives as barbaric. So they flipped the damn story around. It's saying that they flipped the story around on the natives to dehumanize them when it was actually the colonizers eating each other. This shit crazy, yo. Except for debate though. Look what it says though. Look what it says right here. Europeans often ignored their old cannibalism while labeling native rituals as proof of inferiority. That's called white supremacy, y'all. That's what you call white supremacy. They been practicing this shit. Let's get into some video footage, though. Let's get into some video footage. I thought I had cannibalism at Jamestown. Let's let's pull this up right here. Let me do a little screen share. Lots of native stories on cannibalism, large red heads. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was some eateries going on out there. But then again, it's saying, you getting we getting mixed reviews. It ain't. Hold on. Large red heads. Let's look that up. Shouts out to a human watching, a human being. Shouts out to a human being. You said them large red heads. Let me see. Yeah, that's these motherfuckers right here. Hold on. Yeah, you got your cannibalism. These damn Africans, but some people some people don't identify with this African culture. Like a lot of yeah, this is voodoo culture. See, foundational Black Americans don't identify with these fucking Africans at all. There's some history behind that shit. I could get into that too. No, because the thing is, if this is your culture, you still go be practicing this shit somewhere in a lodge in a secret society. They still eat people. We see this. To be honest with you, look at this shit. They still do this shit. You got because the people that actually eat people, they still do it to today. They still do it today. People don't ever stop practicing their culture. So we could pull this up right here. You got this spirit cooker, and that's a Abramovich right there. Maria Abramovich. They still eat people. Obama. They said his chef, Obama's chef. They said they brought him some human meat, and he didn't want to cook it, and that's how he ended up dying and shit. But like I said before, when we go to these colonizers in Jamestown, this is where they get it from. Damn, they get it from Africans, because African is in that European area too, right over there, and I'm pretty sure they practice the same religion, cannibalism. Now the thing is, there's some spiritual evidence of this. Yeah, there's some spiritual evidence of this too. I'm about to pull this. I'm about to pull this up. See, they get it from this God right here. They get it from this right here. All these motherfuckers in Jamestown. This is Saturn eating his own son. So if you see somebody eating their own kind, just know they worship this god in his spook. See, this is Saturn in his spook version. He eating his own son. This is a religious order right here. Cannibalism. Yeah, eating his own son. And the thing is, this is actually Christ. I mean, the Father sacrificing his son right here. He's eating his own son. But this right here is also this is the Aurora Borealis right here. The snake eating his tail. He eating his own ass. He's eating his own son. He's eating himself. You know what I'm saying? This Aurora Borealis is another personification of Saturn, or what they call Satan. Saturn is Satan in his spook burger. But the thing is, everybody subconsciously worships this god Saturn. Saturn is basically the god of repetition. And human nature is repetitive, y'all. So who's really practicing these rituals? From what we know, from what we've seen, and see the thing is, we see this right here. It says debates in exaggeration. So some of these stories could be exaggerated. Um, let's read. Many claims. That's what it says. Many claims stem from biased European sources lacking firsthand verification used to portray natives as barbaric. And I can believe that too, because the thing is, you got these natives, the red haired cannibal giants, whose existence in the Love Lock Cave. Yeah, I'll look that up. I'll look that up. They say every. I'll leave my imagination open for giants due to uh what they say. They said something about the sky canopy being set at a certain gauge where the atmosphere was like thicker and human beings were like large. Everything was larger than life, basically. Plants, all this, when the atmosphere was more thicker. And then they said once the atmosphere start thinning out, people start getting smaller. And yeah, I'll leave my imagination open towards the giants, but there might be some, you know. some inconsistencies behind that too. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sold on the giant story, but I've heard of those accounts before, so I'll just leave it open. I'm not gonna shut the door on that. Well, I ain't gonna shut the door on that one. Uh, so I mean, we all know this manifesto of where the European settlers would come over here and try to, demonize the natives. And it makes perfect sense if you're trying to conquer a land. You would portray everybody on that land as barbaric, and I can see that happening too. I mean, there's evidence of it. Uh, let's pull up the evidence. Let's pull up the evidence of. Let's see. Uh, so here go one example right here of how they demonize the colonizer would demonize you. Dogs and Indians are not allowed. Dogs and Indians are not allowed. That's what that's what the colonizer said. Now, why would they say this? Is because they trying to conquer and demonize a certain group of people that was here first. So that's why I can't completely agree on the natives being so-called savages 100% when we got these colonizers just popping up demonizing. They not even the colonizers not even from here. They foreign to this land. They foreign to this damn land, and ever since they established America, it's gonna go to hell. Trust me, it's gonna go to hell. Just off the way it was established. So when people be like, "Oh man, it's gonna get better," no, it's not. It ain't gonna get better because you still have people in Hollywood right now still eating people, still cooking up livers and ass cheeks and all that. They still doing this stuff. They still practicing this old religion, but the colonizer is one nasty motherfucker. Okay, he's one nasty. He's one nasty dude. He's one nasty dude. And some of these people are actually $5 Indians. So you got these $5 Indians. The $5 Indian of America. So these white settlers would come over here and set up their government and pretend like they're Indians when they could very well be doing the cannibalism. It's called trading places. And like I said, this is a real life story. Cannibalism at Jamestown. Like I said, they ate this woman's skull after she was decaying and shit. Her name is Jane. Rest in peace, Jane. Okay, rest in peace, Jane. 1609. And the thing is, I would think you gotta think the colonizer. By the time they got here, they had the system locked down from Ireland and a lots of those places. They had the system in place. They forgot what a human being is. Yeah, they lost it, man. They lost their way. Because the thing is, if this if this story is playing out like it is now, I don't think it's gonna get too much better. Because we still seeing it today in higher places of society. See, and like I said, these colonizers, they're not like other white folks, man. They're not. See, you got white folks that ain't down with this shit, and I'm pretty sure this white lady right here, Jane, that died by the hands of Jamestown colony. I'm pretty sure she wasn't down with that cannibalism shit either. Okay, this your true definition of white on white crime right here. And I ain't trying to be racist or anything, but eating your own kind is eating your own kind is racist. I told y'all this a long time ago, and people actually thought I was being racist. I said I'm not being racist. I said white supremacy. When we talk about white supremacy is the hierarchy. They don't give a fuck about poor white people. They'll eat your brains and all that shit. They'll eat your brains and all that shit. And like I said, is the the you know who. We can't even say their name online without getting censored. Yeah, but them you know who's them yahoos. We go call them yahoos. Yeah, them yahoos. They put themselves over white people. Matter of fact, them yahoos, they don't think they say they don't identify as white. But when they come over here, they circle in white. Okay, they get all kind of benefits and all that, but they yahoos. So the same machine works today, but on a bigger scale. Yeah. Nowadays, nowadays, this what's really going on. Let's pull this up because when you talking about cannibalism, hmm, talking about cannibalism. Let's pull this up right here, family. Let's pull this up right here. Let's get this off the screen. Talking about cannibalism. Yeah. Haven't we heard on McDonald's, human meat and McDonald's and shit? Human meat and McDonald's. So we actually eating our own, right? You know what I'm saying? And this comes from the settlers in Jamestown. Yeah, yeah, for real. Look, look, we ain't. When I say these people eat each other and they passed it down to everybody else, and they still practice the same religion of eating people. Look at this. Oh, that's false. But the thing is, I don't believe it. Recent viral videos claiming that human remains found at a McDonald's meat supplier have been debunked as false. I don't believe that. I don't believe. I think this shit is true. Even though it's false, I think it's true. So the internet says it's been debunked, but let's see if we can find in hot dogs. See, you pull it up with the hot dogs. If it's in the hot dogs, you know it's in them motherfucking patties. Okay, you know it's in them damn patties. A study found that approximately 2% of hot dogs tested contained traces of human DNA, raises a concern about food safety and hygiene, family. So yeah, you got human DNA and they and veggies. Look, veggie dogs. What the fuck? Human DNA and veggie dogs. Manufactured bullshit. So this religion hasn't went anywhere, y'all. They still eating people. They still eating our kids, but they blaming it on other people. Why they do that sounds like that sounds like the colonizer. That exactly sounds like the colonizer. But the thing is, I don't know why people get offended when I say this shit. You go on my damn uh my Facebook page, man. I'll be stating the obvious, man. And I keep on telling. I mean, we all poor. You know what I'm saying? We all poor. Come on, we're not filthy rich. We're not in that class. And I keep on telling people it's really classism. But like I said, we don't see no black faces that owns no. We don't. So we can't really blame it on blacks. They do the will of the white supremacy. So when you see the black boule is a black secret society, and they are ran by the Greeks. They worship Greco. Those are the black HBCUs and all that shit. And like I've said before, the HBCUs they all tied to the Yahoos. Okay, yeah, them Benjamin Netanyahu's. We ain't go. You know what I'm saying? It's sensitive now. They got this shit on. See, and that's the thing. They don't want you to find out they was doing this shit. They was actually doing this shit. And the reason why I say it's white on white crime because, yeah, these yahoos they're not regular white people, fam, but they identify as white. And when they cannot survive out in the wilderness, they eat their own. Any race can become a CEO that way. Yeah, they're gonna be a puppet. Yeah, they're gonna be a puppet, but they ain't about to be that top. They ain't about to call no shots. Ain't no even BT, Black Entertainment Television. They ran by white folks. White folks own BT. Black people are just a puppet for white supremacy. So when you see black people selling out like Officer Tatum and shit, they selling out to white supremacy. White supremacy is a program that was established here by Jamestown. Yes, it was. But yeah, you're right. Any race can become a puppet, but any race cannot become the puppet master. I tell you that. I tell you that much right now. And they ain't gonna let no Negro be a puppet master. They'll let him be a puppet, but not a puppet. I have never seen a human being. Somebody find me a black puppet master. Somebody find me a black puppet master. I'll shut this motherfucker. I'll shut my whole page down right now. I can't find. I went searching for him. I can't find him. I can't find him. So, and this all got to deal with the Puritans. The Puritans, see, they're not gonna let nobody else control their government because God is government. Government is their religion. The monetary system is their religion. So whatever religious orders get called from the top, we go feel the effects of it at the bottom. So um let's let's pull up this video because I wanted to uh, okay, let's pull up this video. And sorry if I started off slow. I started off slow today. I kind of got to work my way up into these shows sometimes. So let's get into this. All right, chill. And we already showed you. Hold on. We already showed y'all where this cannibalistic shit comes from. Hold on. Let's pull this. We see right here. This the guy Saturn eating his own son, sacrificing his own son, aka Moloch, whatever you want to call it, Saturn. It's all Saturnalia. Uh, and you know what, I really believe that the colonizers, since they came from over there in them European countries and they got across Africa, them Africans over there, they practice that shit too. maybe that's what the connection was, because once you bring African culture over to the Americas, yes, Africans will eat your ass too. Africans will eat your ass too. Go look at the Buffalo Soldiers. The Buffalo Soldiers, they weren't natives, but the natives are a mixture of conquistadors and black indigenous. That's where you get the Indian. That's how you make an Indian. You take a conquistador and mix it with a black native, a black indigenous, foundational black indigenous American. Because you got a lot of mixtures of certain people coming across this land first. See, it was actually the Spaniards that came first before. I think it was before Jamestown. They showed up before Jamestown, if I'm not mistaken. Because you had the British, you had a few Europeans coming over here, but you have your different brand of Europeans too, because you got the the Spaniards. They're from over there in Europe. So you have different type of white people floating around. Okay, everybody that's white ain't the same white, and quite frankly, I don't think they like being lumped together either. I'll be honest with you. I don't like lumping people together. That's why I asked y'all, who are these Jamestown motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? Are you related to Jamestown or what? Who are these people? Because everybody ain't down with that cannibalism shit. Some of these settlers wanted to, they wanted to just have a new life and shit. But like I said, these top hats, hold on, the Asians and Viking, I heard that too. And the thing is, if you want to be honest, the world is really connected. Hey, you don't have to take a ship. You could get anywhere. Let's look up this map. Let's look up this map. Because people think you have to sail to get here. You don't have to sail to get here. That's why they had to confuse people with these new maps and shit that don't look right. Let me pull this up. Because if you look at this flat Earth A, a email. Let's take a look. That is how the Inuit got the crossbow. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Now you see this map right here. You don't have to. Where do you have to go? You don't have to get on boat to make these voyages, to make these trips. But on a globe model, yeah, they go fuck you over with that globe model. They go think you have to take a whole voyage when you could just walk your ass from right here to right here. And I think only a certain amount of people knew that you could get everywhere from foot. And I think the people that were clueless went on them damn boats. I think the people that was stupid went on them damn boats. Because the thing is, you could just walk everywhere. You could just walk everywhere. All this is connected. This is why I love flat Earth. Because everything's connected. You can't connect the dots on a globe. You cannot connect the dots on a globe. But you can see how people was able to migrate and link with each other on a universal. See, everybody was on a universal code. This is why you have certain. See, this is why you have pyramids over here in Africa. Over here, you got pyramids all around the world. Everybody was on one accord. Basically, they calling this Atlantis right here. This whole shit right here, this whole shebang right here. They really calling this Atlantis right here. If you want to be honest, but we can get into that later. So let's get back into the video. So you said that's how. Who was the Inuit? Hold on. Let me look this up real quick. Who are the Inuit people of Canada? This is how the Inuit got the crossbow, the Asians and Vikings. Yeah, because if you look at these people, let's look at these people. They Asian, you know what I'm saying? And you see a lot of these ain't foundational black indigenous people. These are Asiatic. Now you have the saying called the Asiatic. I don't know if you heard of the Asiatic black man too, but these more look like Aztec Indians, and you can see how they were put they popped up in all kind of places in America too. You can see the similarity. You could damn they got all this Indian culture too. You would never be able to tell the difference. You put a feather on this dude's head. You put a feather and some a totem pole on this dude's head. You would never know the difference. He would be labeled as a Native American. But we don't have no igloos. We don't have no igloos here in America though. We don't have no. I ain't never seen an igloo in America. So the people that came here that call themselves natives most likely migrated. Most likely migrated and mingled with the true indigenous people of America. which identity has been buried. Yeah, they buried some shit. They would never tell us the truth. You gotta think about it. You gotta really go find this shit. You gotta spend hours on the computer doing open research. We doing open research right now. None of my shows are scripted, so y'all go get the mistakes. We go find out. I might say something. My shit. I might say something that ain't true. We might have to go back and fix it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know everything either. I don't know everything. Might have to go back and fix it and shit. So let's get into the video.
On the strongest evidence yet that the colonists living in Jamestown. Scientists have found the strongest evidence yet that the colonists living in Jamestown, Virginia may have resorted to cannibalism. Times were tough in Jamestown in 16...
Yeah, we gonna look that up. We gonna look that up. Because like I said, when you look at this damn AE map right here, you already know what time it was. People was traveling, walking, meeting each other, trading and shit, man. I would never let somebody tell me we ain't all connected by looking at this damn map right here. We all connected in some form or fashion. Hold on, let's go back to the video.
1609 and 1610. If you can imagine, winter was cannibalism.
Right,
Scientists have found the strongest evidence yet that the colonists living in Jamestown, Virginia may have resorted to cannibalism. Times were tough in Jamestown in 1609 and 1610. If you can imagine, winter was coming, and supplies from England that were supposed to bring food and other materials never made it there. And relations with the local Powhatan Indians had gotten so bad that the few hundred settlers were actually hunkered down under a siege-like situation in the fort. People have written that things got so bad that the settlers may have resorted to cannibalism. Researchers digging through a pile of debris in Jamestown found bones that really took them by surprise. There was 2/3 of a skull and part of a leg bone that belonged to what they believe was a 14-year-old girl. And the reason the skull surprised them was that it had some very unique marks on them. But how do you even know that cannibalism happened when you're looking at bones that are several hundred years old? Well, it helps if you're a forensic anthropologist, like Douglas Owsley, who works at the Smithsonian Institution and was involved in interpreting the bones. What he saw was a skull that looked like nothing.
Now the thing is, you had these Indian and colonizer wars too. So let's pull this up. Let's pull this up. So you look up this picture. The Indians did do this too. Let's pull this up. The Indians went around scalping colonizers and shit. So they didn't just lay down. They didn't just lay down. They really went in them colonies and start peeling wigs back. Start peeling wigs back and shit. Yeah, this really did happen. So, and I'm look, here go black on black crime right here. So if you was an enemy of the natives, you was probably getting your cap peeled back. Look at this. And the king, our master, will reward you. That's crazy. That's crazy. Whose scalps are these right here? Whose scalps are these? Because this is an Indian man. This is a British general right here, if I'm not mistaken. But whose scalp did he cut? and he gave it to an Indian man. So these are cartoons we gotta dig into, because if it happened in a cartoon, I mean, it already happened. So these people look like these people that you mentioned earlier, a human being. It's like they got a mixture of Asiatic, you know, they got that Asiatic look. So yeah, they were scalping at these colonies too. So let's pull this back up.
Nothing he had seen before. It had multiple knife marks and several large gashes to the front and back of the head that he believes were caused by either a cleaver or a lightweight hatchet. He also says there were signs that
You see what I'm saying? You see how we just pulled that up, and we saw that, and I told you, it really, it might have not been cannibalism in human being. You see, you see how we just cleaned some shit up. We got to clean it up, but now when they say, oh, it might have been a hatchet and shit, the first thing that came to my mind is this, y'all. The first thing that came to my mind is this right here. The Indian probably caught this girl right here and scalped her. Why would they scalp her? Because these motherfuckers right here, they trying to infringe on the natives' land. They trying to infringe on the natives' land, but can you really blame the natives? Because let's look at this. Let's look at this. So when we pull this up, they said the colonizer they brought smallpox with blankets on it, and spread it all kind of diseases and shit. I guess the Native Americans they found out and they start scalping motherfuckers. Look, colonizer brings smallpox. The introduction of smallpox to the Americans by European colonizers was a significant event that had devastating effect on the indigenous populations. The disease was brought to North America, and see who's bringing all these damn diseases and shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the thing is, this is why the white man get a bad name. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is why the white man get a bad name, because of all this terrorism that happened. These are terroristic acts. These are biological weapons right here. The Hudson Bay story. We gotta look that up too. Fill me in on that, and I'll pull it up. Why is this damn flying? I want to smack it. It's on my computer screen. But I'm not trying to fuck up my computer screen. Let me see if I can trap this stupid ass fly. Yeah, that's why a lot of white people get, the bad end of the stick because of these stories right here. Because you got to think, when people be like, "Oh man, why are people acting the way they do?" They just practicing. They just practicing the ritualistic behavior of the colonizer. Because if this didn't happen, shit, America wouldn't be established at all. This government, this fiat government, wouldn't be established at all if the colonizer didn't come over here. So this is why when you look at history, uh, and the thing is, it ain't all white folks. You can't lump. See, the thing is, people be trying to lump all white folks and tie this shit into this, even though when it comes to white supremacy, they don't give a fuck about white people. Poor, let's say poor whites. This is a classism problem, but like I said, there really ain't no black heads that's leading the cause. They're just perpetuating the the hierarchy. That's all they're doing. I don't even think they know what the fuck going on, because a lot of indigenous people were bought off too, so they ain't all the way off the hook either. They ain't all the way off the hook, but I'm starting to think when they was like, oh, they brought the hatchet out. We could match that with the uprisings of the Native Americans, and guess what? The Native Americans went around scalping babies. They scalped babies too, fam. So let's read. The disease was brought to North America in the 17th century. Smallpox, and you still got to take you know what? Yeah, you still got to take them vaccines for this disease right here. But who brought it over here? The white supremacists brought the diseases over here. But guess what? Guess who they say the nastiest motherfuckers are? The blacks. They say black people are nasty. They got all kind of STDs and shit. But meanwhile, the colonizers came over here and brought this shit over here. A lot of this shit, these diseases and shit, got to deal with bestiality, having sex with animals, and all that. Man, American history. A lot of people don't want to touch on true American history. And like I said, if you don't know true American history, you're not an American. You're not an American if you don't know true American history. So let's read the colonizer, and we after I read, we're gonna go back into the video because now it's making sense. Now it's making sense that the colonizers might have not participated in cannibalism, might have not been, especially when it's coming from the Smithsonian. You gotta watch out for them. But I'm thinking when they said the hatchet, I'm thinking, boom, we already figured that out. So it says the North American in the 17th century, and it quickly spread, causing widespread devastation and loss of life. The colonizers' efforts to spread smallpox among the natives were a part of a broader strategy to control and assimilate the indigenous people. The use of smallpox as a biological weapon was first documented in 1763 during the siege of Fort Pitt, where smallpox, damn, 17, that ain't a long time ago if you really want to think about it. The colonists' actions were part of a larger pattern of violence and exploitation that characterized their interactions with Native Americans, family. Yeah, there's some yeah, we all know there's some sick ass shit. Yeah, some sick ass shit, y'all. Let's get into the hatchet story.
A sharp instrument was used to puncture part of the skull and pry it open. He told me that he believes that the 14-year-old girl was already dead when this occurred.
And see, we have brought that. See, the thing is, they said she was already dead. So I don't know. That's what they say. And they pried her brain open, and I guess they start going to town on her brain. It's just crazy, y'all. It's just freaky. It's some freaky ass shit.
Because he also works with victims of modern day crime. And he says that if she had been alive when this happened, that there would be a different pattern of marks on the bone.
Oh, well, We might have to take the Hatchet story back. Yeah, we might have to take the Hatchet story back. We might have to go with the cannibalism because they said they would have been different marks. That stupid ass fly is pissing me off.
And even apart from the physical scars on the bones, he says that they can tell a fascinating story about this girl and where she came from. For example, doing chemical analysis, he can tell that she was likely recently from England because she didn't show signs of having eaten the primarily corn-based diet that was so prevalent in the colonies at the time. She also had high levels of nitrogen in her bones, and that indicates she may have been well off in England and had access to eating a lot of meat and protein. He's also doing additional tests to confirm this. There are no written.
And see, once the colonizers came up, that's why they was eating that corn and shit. Because guess who gave it to them? The indigenous people. The natives gave them that corn. These colonizers, they didn't know how to grow nothing when they first came over here. And that's how most of them died and didn't survive. And a lot of them had to go to other parts of the Americas to survive. You can't survive out there in Jamestown when it's snowing and shit. Hell no. That shit's not going to work.
Records of Jane's presence in Jamestown, but her bones are telling a very interesting story about an important, if gruesome, period in our history.
See, that's just one video. Let's see. Let's see, because when we pull this up, Jamestown colony's desperate descent into cannibalism during the starving time. And if you look at this picture right here, see, these are, what the hell? A depiction of Native Americans attacking colonists during the Indian massacre. Damn. So they went around just, them natives weren't playing, man. The natives was not playing. And this is why, this is why I don't believe half the shit that went on. I'm gonna be honest with you. There wasn't no full conquering of America. They still trying to conquer. These white supremacists still trying to conquer America as we speak. They haven't fully did it yet. And like I said, even in government settings, they still use Indian terms like chief of staff. What do they call? What do they call the president? They call him something. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, you got the commander in chief, the commander in chief, the chief executive. That's all Indian terminology right there. That's all indigenous terminology. Even with the head of state. What does it say? Today is hard to imagine what it would be like to be one of the first English settlers. See, in Jamestown, Virginia, let alone during the period now called the starving time. There's nothing in our lives to compare it to. The settlers were at edge of what they considered civilization, and any help from home would take weeks. See that second or third voyage, the thing is they had to bring blacks from Africa. They had to bring blacks from Africa to help them with these indigenous. They called the Buffalo Soldier. They didn't do this shit on it. A white man didn't conquer America on his own. They had to get the slaves from Africa. That's why they got the slaves from Africa, y'all. Because if you look at the buffaloes, look at the. Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up. History was told in reverse. Hold on. These motherfuckers right here. These are the Buffalo Soldiers. These are motherfuckers from Africa, but they helped the colonizers conquer the natives. These are the Buffalo Soldiers right here. Yeah, you see, they very inclined with the colonizer. They're very friendly, very friendly. Okay, they had guns, and the Indians had bows and arrows. They had guns. The Indians had. That's basically the war right there in a nutshell. And the thing is, how we know these black Buffalo Soldiers are from Africa is because they killed. How many buffaloes did they kill? See, these ain't FBA. These ain't foundational Black Americans. They're not indigenous to this land at all. Okay, they're not indigenous to this land at all. And let's see how many buffalo. Uh, so during hold on. During the Buffalo Soldier tragedy of 1877, it is reported that 4 soldiers and 1 buffalo hunter died. No, this is not what I'm. I think this is it. Okay, here we go right here. Now the thing is, we know that these Buffalo Soldiers are not indigenous blacks from America. And we identified the igloo people here too. There was a few people. There was a mixture of people here already. There's a mixture of people here already, y'all. It says between 1872 and 1883, the United States Army killed an estimate of a 500,000 buffaloes, fam. 500,000 buffaloes. The majority of these buffaloes were killed for their hides, which were used to make clothing and other items. The buffalo slaughter was a result of the U.S. government's efforts to force Native Americans to relocate. Yeah, they playing dirt. They playing dirties. They playing dirty. Now the thing is, you could tell these black buffalo soldiers uh were not indigenous of this land. They killed the livestock. Anybody in their right mind would not kill off their food supply. All right, but these Negroes did it in the name of white supremacy. So, in a nutshell, these black buffalo soldiers, they are considered white supremacists. I told you white supremacy is color coded. You could be a black white supremacist, man. These would be your Al Sharptons and your Your Jesse Jacksons right here, okay? Your Steve Harveys. Oh, that's the black boot. They part of the black boule, the Buffalo. So, because they, guess what? They had favor with the white man, the colonizer. They all hung together and all that shit. These are your freedmen slaves right here. But they from Africa, fam. They fought in the Confederate. Look, these are all the bison they killed. So the black man and the Jewish man had a very symbiotic relationship. They fought in all these wars. They fought in all the. If it weren't for the blacks, they would have lost the Confederacy. Okay, because after all them damn Indian scalpings, they needed help. Okay, they needed help, and they got the job done. Look all these damn buffalo they done killed. Look all these damn buffalo. So should these African Americans get reparations? No, I don't believe they should get reparations at all because they was down with the colonizer. They were scared to go out. They were trapped on an island. The ship left and said we would be right back, but they didn't come right back, so they had to eat each other at Jamestown. Yep, yep, that part too. They was pressured into eating each other, man. A lot of sick shit, man. I'm telling you, man. This is why people do not want to talk about American history. It's too graphic. It's too graphic. You man, be honest. You would have to repent. You would have to repent to really dive into this damn information. This information, the truth ain't for everybody. The truth ain't for everybody. Excuses can be made due to. You gotta think, man. Motherfuckers just don't act the way they do for no reason. A lot of this shit is embedded in people's DNA. This shit is so when people be like, "Oh man, the black man is violent." Look at these damn Buffalo soldiers. Look at these they violent. Yeah, they violent. But guess who was the puppet master? Guess where they learned it from? The black on black crime. They learned it from the colonizer, man. They learned it for when you be like, oh man, blacks are violent. Where do you think they learned it from? This is where they got it from. But I'm not really using it as an excuse. But if you want to, because some people be like, oh man, uh, black on black crime, that's just in their DNA. It kind of is because guess what? This is what we got. There was war started. There was war started. The war is still going on until this day. But now the white man don't have to put the KKK hood on. He could just get a Buffalo soldier to do it. White supremacists don't have to show their face anymore. They'll let the black man control white supremacy. I told you the dynamics of white supremacy is so dynamic the average person go think you a racist for trying to explain it. But the thing is they're not gonna they're not gonna listen. They're not go they go be a victim of it. The poor white go be the victim of it, and the poor black go be a victim of it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm about to get off here, human being. I'm about to get off here, but the conclusion to this story is we don't want to lump everybody together, even though there might be some negative notations to these history lessons. So you can always pinpoint the hypocrite. You just tell them about history. Hypocrites do not like history. They'll stay away from it. But if you want to go into the origins of how people are culturally made, you have to hit them origin points. And some people's history stops at the year 2000. That's sad. Some people's history stop at the year 2000. They can't go back and unravel certain secrets of America. But yeah, it's another episode of Secrets of America. And yes, we will get back into some other topics too. Sorry if I took off slow. You know, I have a hard time pronouncing certain shit, you know. But anyways, I hope you enjoy the show. Shouts out to a human being for stopping by. It's all love over here. When me and him get on, we always go in for real, for real. Yeah, it was all right show, man. It could have been better. It could have been, but it kind of started off rocky and you know, because I don't script, I don't, we don't pre-write these shows, or these shows are not scripted. So y'all go get every mistake that could be possible, you know. And yes, we'll move on to the next one tomorrow. I'll be on here tomorrow with some more info. We'll do some trending topics tomorrow. But really, I wanted to stay on track. I don't like getting off track when I'm doing talking about certain issues. So yeah, man. Thanks for coming in. Uh, love you, man. Love y'all. Thanks for watching. We will be back tomorrow. I'm out, y'all.
Mr. Truth is